Mr. Miracle isn't just a graphic novel. It's a message to all of us who have suffered through trauma or deep and dark depression. In comics, there are many figures that have endured horrible tragedies. Batman, the Punisher, or even Wolverine come to mind as some of the most notable examples. We see them grow into dark and detached characters that thrive in their merciless worlds. But in this story, the message is clear. You can suffer through the worst upbringings a child could ever have and still find happiness. Despite the fact that this story begins with our main protagonist's attempted suicide, in the end, we are the ones that can choose to change our lives for the better. And it all starts in our mind. This is the story of Mr. Miracle. The character of Mr. Miracle was created by the great Jack Kirby back in 1971. He had just departed from Marvel after some creative differences and went over to DC Comics, where upon his arrival, he created the New Gods, a tale of two neighboring planets at constant war with one another. In order to bring peace to their all but destroyed worlds, the two leaders vowed to cease fire by exchanging their newly born sons. Darkseid, who was the ruler of Apocalypse, would give up his son, Orion, to be raised on New Genesis, and Highfather, who was the ruler of New Genesis, would give up his son to be raised on Apocalypse. The son of Highfather is then given to Granny Goodness by Darkseid, where she raises the boy in the X-Pits. Granny Goodness is tasked with forging the boy into a worthy warrior. She then proceeds to brutally torture and maim the boy all throughout his childhood. She even named him scot-free in a cruel joke as he made countless attempts to escape. This went on for years until the boy grew up and was finally able to break free. Afterwards, Scott made a new life for himself on Earth by working alongside a famous escape artist known as Mr. Miracle. Scott soon takes on the mantle of Mr. Miracle after he's murdered by a criminal organization. Eventually, Orion, who was raised on New Genesis by Highfather, finds Scott on Earth and together they team up to fight against Darkseid. During these adventures, Scott is reunited with his old friend Big Barda, one of Apocalypse's most powerful warriors. Scot-Free and Big Barda soon fall in love and get married. Together, they make their new home here on Earth.
I came back.
You've been gone a long time.
Barda, you are the only trap I could never escape from.
Oh, Scott.
This is the foundation that sets up the graphic novel self-titled Mr. Miracle, which was released in 2018. It was written by Tom King and illustrated by Mitch Gerads. The duo were able to accomplish one of the best stories in the past decade. Instead of focusing on the heroic feats of a superhero, the story centers around the relationship between Scott and Barda and how much their childhood experiences have shaped them into the characters we see today. It is undeniably one of the most personal and deepest dives into the mind of a godlike character I've seen since the Sandman comics dating as far back as the mid-90s. It's ultimately a story of a person living with anxiety and depression and how he feels trapped in his own tortured mind. Scot-Free is the greatest escape artist in the universe, yet the one thing he can't seem to elude is his own mental prison. It's how we all feel when we've suffered terrible trauma as children, trapped by our inner demons. Tom King takes the character of Mr. Miracle and decides to put front and center the tragedy of how Scott was raised in order to ask the question, how does one escape the harsh upbringings of mental and physical abuse? It is something that is absolutely a reality for millions, if not billions of people throughout the world. And to see a superhero, who is also a god, struggled through this very scenario makes for one of the most accurate depictions of what it looks like to live with severe depression. Throughout the comic, we see just how much it affects Scott in his daily routines. He feels disturbingly numb to the world around him, which causes him to alienate the people he loves. But ultimately, he is able to choose a life that is worth living and being happy to have. He finds comfort in choosing to fight for the life he has with Barda and his newborn son. He finally understands his place in the cosmos and is grateful to be able to start fresh with his family on Earth. He finds a life worth living.
I mean, the reaction to Mr. Miracle a lot of people have is it's a very personal thing, which is, it's good because that's, I was trying to write a very personal work. I was trying to do something, I wanted to be ambitious, and the only way I know how to get ambitious is to sort of put more of myself in it. It seems to me sort of that's why you write, is to sort of not be alone.
Tom King wrote his very own personal story through the character of Mr. Miracle in order to remind everyone who has felt their own lonely darkness. You are never alone. Sometimes, you have to lean on loved ones to help face your darkness. You always have the power to create a life that will make you happy, and it all starts in your mind. Hey guys, it's me Brian, and I just wanted to thank you so much for checking out my video on Mr. Miracle. And I also want to thank everybody who has continued to pour support into this channel. It's really awesome to see how many subscribers we've gotten in the past 6 months, and it's motivated me to want to continue to put out content for you guys, so thank you. Thank you so much. I also want to say that 2020 has been a pretty terrible year for all of us, and I just want you guys to know that you're not alone. We're all in this together. But anyways, I'm going to leave it like that, guys. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you guys next time on Tribute This.